How do you turn a simple Dollar Tree salt shaker into luxury decor? Stick with me because this riser will blow your mind. And that is just the beginning. Hi, I'm Loli. Let's create something beautiful and find a little joy along the way. This one is so easy to make, but it has such a beautiful impact. I'm going to use one of these glass holders from the Dollar Tree and 3 of these bunnies that come in this salt pepper shaker from the Dollar Tree as well. The first thing that I did, I took my glass piece and I cleaned it really nicely with some alcohol, making sure to get the front and the back. Now I'll be using the bunnies. I also cleaned up the top of the bunnies. These sets are beautiful just like this for the intended purpose, but the possibilities are endless of how much you can do with these. If you want to see what I did with the carrot ones, make sure that you watch the video. I will be adding at the top of the video here and also in my description box. All right, so now here I'm positioning my bunnies in the place that I want them, and then I'm positioning the plate right on top of them. The trays have 3 little prongs there that if you have the bunnies close to it, they're not going to be even. So here, just make sure to use those little prongs as a guide of where to put each one of your bunnies. That's pretty much what I did on here. And make sure that everything is even and this is not wobbly. Then come in with some kind of glue, permanent glue that is good for glass. I used UHU for this project. First, I was thinking I was going to do the bunnies looking in, but then I thought, you know what, it's a lot cuter with the bunnies looking out. So that will be your option. If you plan to recreate this, you can leave the bunnies looking in or you can have them looking out, whichever is better for you. Once I was happy, I removed the plate from there and we're going to add some of this UHU glue to the top of the bunnies. You can also use E6000 and you can also use Fix All adhesive, any kind of permanent adhesive you have available. Then I added a little bit of hot glue as well to the bunnies just to hold that in place until the UHU glue dried. And if you see there, I kind of offset one of my bunnies, but I'm caught it before I place it down. You see that? And you're just going to position it there, let it sit overnight to dry. The next day, I took it outside and using this beautiful gold paint from Rust-Oleum, I'm going to give it 2 coats. And look at that transformation. It looks so beautiful, so luxurious. Then I'm going to go ahead and take some of this ebony color rub and buff. I'm going to place a little amount onto my painting mat there and then add very little to my brush and then dry brush it, trying to make it a little bit heavier in all of the nooks and crannies of the bunny, just to accentuate all of those details. Then I switched to this chip brush from Dollar Tree so I can get even deeper into those little crevices of the bunny. And I did that in between all the ears here, where the little eyes were, where the little crooks of the feet were, all over. And I repeated that in all of the areas and at the top as well. And this is what I turned out with. It came out so beautiful. Let me know what you think. For this one, we will be using some resin. This will be my first time technically doing my resin. I did it in a different video, but I did this project before I did the previous one. So I'm going to take some of these disposable cups from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and pour one of each of the parts of the resin into these. These have little ridges, which help me figure out exactly that I have the same amount on this cup as I have at this one right here. Once I have both of them filled at the same level, I'm going to mix the clear one onto the blue one and then just stir it, but I'm going to stir it for 60 seconds, but I'm going to be doing it, trying to be a little bit easy with it because you don't want to form too many bubbles. Then I took some of this yellow resin ink from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to go ahead and poke it, but I made a mess on there. Just took a couple of colors. I'm going to start by just taking 3 drops and mixing it in. And the purpose for this is because the resin was blue. Even though the box said turquoise, it was blue, and I tried it in another piece and it was like just blue. It was not turquoise. So I'm adding more of this yellow so I can get more of that green tint to it. So once I was happy with it, which it was after about 20 drops, is that I received, or I got to this color right here. Now I'm going to use this wood piece from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it white. And once it dried, I took my resin and I'm going to use a syringe. This syringe came from Dollar Tree. It came from the Halloween section. It comes in a pack of 3. And I thought this will be the most precise and best way for me to add the resin onto the areas in which I wanted this color. I'm just going to pour enough going on the sides, but here be very, very careful that when you're going to the sides, that the resin is not already too filled, because what's going to happen is it's going to start pouring out from the sides, and we don't want that. So start with a little, see how the resin fills the area, and if you need to add more, then you can do that at that time. This resin sets at about 10 minutes, so try to work in small sections if you're able. If you're not able to finish this in one sitting, don't mix as much resin. For the other sections of the flower, I mixed a separate batch of resin and added less of the yellow. And this gave it more of a blue turquoise color. And using a different syringe, I'm going to add it to the outer portions of the flower. And I just did it carefully, as I mentioned earlier, just starting from the beginning, or the middle, I should say, and then making sure that the resin goes into the edges, but be very careful not to overfill it, because it will pour out on the sides and you want to have a nice clean look. Once I had it on all of those outer pieces right here, I added some more of the yellow to that same blue that I'm using, just to lighten it just a little bit more, so it will have a different tone than the 2 previous colors. Once it was nicely mixed, I'm just going to go ahead and remove some of that resin, and we are going to add it to the small portions that are in the inner portion of the flower. The color ended up being very close to the green one, but I think it's actually in between both of the 2 colors. Now for the middle section, I decided to add a couple drops of that resin tincture, the yellow resin tincture, into it, and then pour some of the resin that I had used last right here in the middle. And I'm just trying to create kind of like a tie-dye effect, something that looks a bit different from the rest of the florals. And it ended up kind of mixing in a little bit and making the color more green. So what I did is afterwards I came on top of the resin and I added a couple drops of that yellow tincture, and that kind of gave it more that effect that I was going for. To remove the bubbles from the resin, we're going to go ahead with the heat gun here, and then just carefully just go ahead and blow that, and it kind of makes the bubbles come to the surface and dissipate. Then I just let it sit overnight to dry. Here you can see that I did have some of that resin kind of bubble up. So this is what I was mentioning with not overfilling it, because this is what you want to avoid. All right, so while that dried, I took one of these wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. They're actually MDF board. But here the edges was like pieces put together to complete the round. I did not like that finish there. So I just took some lightweight spackle from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just kind of covering up all those little cracks and imperfections there, smoothing it down very nicely, and then sanding it down just so it looks a lot more finished. Then I took some agave from Waverly and painted the rim of this with it. And then brought in my flower piece, removed the tag from the back. This is completely unnecessary. I don't know why I felt I needed to do this, because we're going to glue this down anyway. But anyway, I took some of this UHU glue that I got from Amazon with some hot glue as well. And I added to the back of this, then flipped it over, making sure that my flower is in the direction that I wanted it to. Then pressed it down until it was completely attached. And that is it for this one. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about this piece. I love it. I've been thinking about this one for days. I took one of these houses from the Dollar Tree. It's a hang. I'm going to remove the hanger portion, put it to the side for now. And then I'm going to take some of these little square blocks that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 6 of them for this project. And we're going to use some of these bunnies as well. We're going to also use 6 bunnies. I'm starting by taking some of my Loctite wood glue and adding it to the top section of each one of my little wood squares. Then I lined up a bunny for each one of the cubes. So 6 cubes, 6 bunnies. And I took 2 tumbling tower blocks. I was thinking of putting them on the side, but I didn't. So ignore those. I added a little bit of hot glue to the back of the little square cube and then glued it to the back of my bunny, making sure that it was flush with the table so they're able to stand like this. All right, so I repeated the same thing with all 6 of them. I decided to put these. I was thinking I was going to put them right here kind of to just block them in, but it didn't work out as good. So I took instead a couple more of these squares and stacked them. And I just needed to do this on the 2 end bunnies only. And what I did is I used the same combination of my hot glue and my wood glue. And I just stacked the 3 on top of each other doing the same process. And what I did to this bunny, I'm going to do to the bunny that you see there to the right as well. So this is so I wanted to make sure that I had my edges blocked off. Once I had them together, as you see there, I'm going to just go ahead and attach the end bunnies first. Again, with a combination of my Loctite wood glue and hot glue. My friend, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to hit that like button. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the content and it will push it out to more people, and in turn, it will help my channel grow. Thank you so much. All right, so then I did the same thing with the other bunny on the other side. So I'm doing my ends so it's easier for me to space out the middle ones. Once I had these 2 set exactly at the edges of the little house, then I was able to see exactly the space in between the other ones so they will be equal. Once I had them nicely lined up, I did the same thing. I attached them with a combination of the wood glue and the hot glue. The hot glue is for quick adhesion and the wood glue is for longevity. But here, be sure that you don't have the 2 glues touch each other, because then that wood glue will cool down the hot glue and it will no longer be adhesive. And this is how it's turning out so far. Look how beautiful this looks. This is our little bunny fencing or bunny pocket. All right, then I took some of these greeneries. This one came from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take the pieces off and kind of tuck them in here. I thought they would look fine just like this, but I felt like it was too long. It was just taken away from the house, and that was not the look that I was going for. So I took them all off one by one and just trimmed the bottom of it of different levels so they would look a bit more natural. And so I had a little bit more space on the top of the house. Friend, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to hit that like button and let me know in the comment section where are you watching from. I love to know how far my videos are reaching, and share, because sharing is caring and it helps my channel grow. Thank you so much. All right, once we have all the heights correct, I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue in the bottom of each one of the stems, and being very careful not to get the hot glue on the bunnies or the house. Just tuck them right behind the bunny until all the pieces were down. However, as I was placing this down, I felt that I needed to put them closer together. So I'm going to do that until I had them all adhered into the bottom of the house. And I was left with a piece or 2 that were a little bit empty at that point. So I just took some more at the greenery and did the same process that I did with these, cut them down at different levels and tucked them in the 2 little sections here that felt a little bare. Then I came in with these greenery. These came from Temu. And I'm going to just remove the individual pieces. And I love the little white flowers that these come with. So I'm just going to remove that and cut off the little section that would have been attached to the pick and tuck those in between the other greenery. And I did that all the way down the line until I had it mixed in all of those. And again, being very careful that I did not get the glue in any of the florals or the bunnies or anything like that. And it looked perfect for me. I'm going to take now some of these beads from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to tie it down there as my hanger. And you think I'm done, right? I'm not done yet. I felt that I needed a little bit more. Here, if you see, I tied my knot as you see under there, and I threaded that jute twine into the bead, added a little bit of hot glue on there, made sure that the two pieces were attached together, and cut off the excess jute cord. And that just gives you a seamless hanger with no knots visible. Now I'm coming in with this home sign from the Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack of two. We're going to be using one, and I'm gluing it down using my Loctite wood glue. And you can do this in an angle or you can do it straight. I kind of did a mixture of both, and I kind of angled it a little bit, but not too much. And that is it for this one. Let me know in the comment section if you love this one. I love the contrast of all these colors together. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, here are a couple more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you so much for stopping by. You're amazing. Bye.